If it was anybody else but Merle, of course, I'd be scared stiff. For one thing, she has such wonderful taste. Clothes, books, everything.
This month, for our spooky October, Movie Night Extravaganza is covering witches from now until Halloween. Starting tonight with the 1958 Jimmy Stewart and Kim Novak film, where Kim Novak plays an enchanting woman who tricks Jimmy Stewart into pining after her. No, not Vertigo, Bell, Book and Candle, directed by Richard Quine. An actor turned director and frequent collaborator of Blake Edwards, whose 1954 film noir Pushover had launched Kim Novak's career.
He bought me my clothes and my car, and a lease on a decent place to live in. Things I've never had in my whole life.
If you'd known where his dough came from, would you still have taken it?
Money isn't dirty, just people.
Based on the play Bell, Book and Candle by John Van Druten, which had starred Rex Harrison and Lily Palmer on Broadway in 1950. Bell, Book and Candle is the last time Jimmy Stewart would star as a romantic lead, and also starred Ernie Kovacs and Jack Lemmon, frequent collaborators of the director Richard Quine, as well as Elsa Lanchester as Aunt Queenie, the wife of Charles Lawton, and Hermione Gingold. The script was written by Daniel Teradash, who was the one who convinced David O. Selznick to purchase the play's rights. Selznick hoped to cast his wife, Jennifer Jones, as Jillian, the role that ended up going to Kim Novak. Teradash hoped to get Rex Harrison and Lily Palmer to reprise their roles from Broadway, but Harry Cohn of Columbia ended up casting Kim Novak, who was momentarily off filming Vertigo. Another version, pitched by Teradash, would have had Cary Grant and Grace Kelly and been directed by Alexander McKendrick, who was fresh off of directing Sweet Smell of Success in 1957. At the time of filming, Jimmy Stewart was 50, and Kim Novak was 25, a leading man on his way out and a starlet on top of her game. Jimmy Stewart would, of course, keep putting out huge films like Anatomy of a Murder next year, but his time as a romantic lead was over, and his time in westerns like The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, Two Rode Together, and How the West Was Won was coming up next.
I've known her ever since she was a kid. And then, of course, she went away to school, and I sort of lost track of her for a bit.
In Bell, Book and Candle, Jimmy Stewart plays a publisher named Shep Henderson, who moves into an apartment building that, unbeknownst to him, is populated by witches, including Jillian Holroyd and her Aunt Queenie. When Jillian finds out that Shep's fiancé is her college rival, Merle Kitteridge, she decides to enchant Shep to steal him from Merle using her Siamese cat, Pie. At the same time, she's enchanted Sidney Redlich, the author of Magic in Mexico, to pitch his new book to her publisher boyfriend, and to her annoyance, her brother Nicky, played by Jack Lemmon, decides to help Redlich write his new book.
Yeah, this is just an amazing coincidence. Why, only the other night, Gillian was asking me if I'd like to meet Mr. Redlich. He was right in this room with him. Remember?
Toast. Ring the bell, close the book, quench the candle.
Exposing too many of their secrets to his new friend to get out of being broke. This sets up a dilemma. Should she tell Shep about herself and risk their new relationship? One she begins to fear is actually a relationship born of love, meaning she could lose her powers, to cut the Gordian knot of deceit that she has created.
What on earth are you doing with Pie Wacket?
Somebody gave him my address.
Well, I didn't, and if you
Well, he's your cat, isn't he?
No, he's not my cat.
Listen, I don't care whether you put him outside my window or had him fly up there. It doesn't matter. I thought I made myself clear on that.
Before I introduce the panel, please like this video and subscribe to the Movie Night Extravaganza YouTube channel. Then hit that bell to get notified whenever we're streaming. Super chats are now open. If you have any pressing questions, send us a super chat, which helps me maintain the expenses for the show, which I am obligated by the rules of the Geneva Convention to stop everything and ask the panel. Another way to help us out is to become a patron and give us money every month. In exchange, you get access to all of our after parties, bonus content, and we'll tell you even more movies we watched recently. Patreon.com/Movie Night Extra. We have a Movie Night Extravaganza Discord. There's an invite link in the episode description, and we have a Letterboxd HQ account. So those are two more places to follow along with us. Okay, let me introduce the illustrious panel. We are live right now on this space. If you aren't following them, Join This Space TV on YouTube. Link below. Conan Neutron is the co-host and senior producer for Movie Night Extravaganza, host of Protonic Reversal, an independent Film Critics of America film critic, and the frontman for the band Conan Neutron and the Secret Friends. Check out his music at neutronfriends.bandcamp.com. Kristina Oakes is a co-host of Movie Night Extravaganza, a streamer on Twitch, twitch.tv/cosmopolitics, a host at This Space, hosting Kristina's Corner, and is across social media at Cosmopolitics and on Letterboxd at Kristina. Eileen Jones is a film critic for Jacobin, the host of the Film Suck podcast, patreon.com/filmsuck, and the author of Film Suck USA. I, of course, am your host and a warlock. A male witch is called a warlock. Forrest Miller. You know what it says on love potions? Shake well, but don't tell.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Highly queer-coded Jack Lemmon as the warlock.
At his best. It's one of my favorite performances he ever gives. I wish he'd done more.
I know, it's great.
Wonderful demonic glitter he gets in his eyes is wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. Eileen, it's great to have you back.
I'm so glad to be here. Thank you.
Thanks for coming on. We're, of course, as I mentioned, we're doing a month of witches, and I specifically pushed for, well, between this one and I Married a Witch, which is arguably the superior movie, but
yeah,
I think it makes sense because a lot of times when people think of modern witches, they think of the television show Bewitched.
Yep.
Which the creator shamelessly ripped this off of to do. and freely admitted it, different copyright law between those two. But I think this is a really fascinating movie, and coming at it from a cinematic perspective, the fact that Jimmy Stewart and Kim Novak also did Vertigo the same year is insane.
It's like we might as well cast these two together. You know, they got the good chemistry. She's got the hypnotic eyes. It works.
Isn't it amazing that it works? That Jimmy Stewart, who's getting on, would work with Kim Novak? It's a mystery, but they totally do.
Twice in the same year.
So nice. They did it twice in the same year.
They talked about Cary Grant and Grace Kelly as one pairing for a version of this, and then they talked about obviously like Rex Harrison and Lily Palmer, who did the actual play, which was seen by Kim Novak before she went to Hollywood, when she was still just like a young girl and like a model or whatever, and she actually got a Siamese cat and named it Pie Wicket, and had her pet Siamese cat before ever going into Hollywood at all. So that was like her pet that she would bring around with her everywhere.
Oh.
Well, because it was a book first and like a Broadway show, right? So it was already a known commodity, as much as it sort of like lost the time.
A massive Broadway show, like one of the ones that everyone would have seen, in the moment. But then they ended up closing it within I think a year and a half or something. I read, because they took it to West End. And they toured it around places, because it's Rex Harrison. He wants to go back to England.
Yeah. And also too, he didn't have to do much singing in this, or do his weird talk singing.
Right, exactly. Which has strangely been referenced quite a bit already in this last month. But I think, and that's one of the reasons why we're starting off with it, right? Because we're talking about witches in popular culture and starting off with modernity, and this is the first time it's really depicted that you get some semblance of the witch's perspective, other than just a evildoer that loves doing evil style depiction, or have it within some overutilized framework where it's just a sidebar. So I think that's notable as well. You see that they have interactions with each other. It's like I don't know what the Bechdel test for witches would be, but it passes. And I think all that works really well, and it's good Lord, it looks amazing too.
Gorgeous film.
And this is one of the last films we've given him a shout out on the show of the great cinematographer James
Wong Howe.
Yeah, James Wong Howe. And God, it looks amazing. Like the look of this is just fantastic, and also I think it's one of those things that even if people say forget some of the details of the story, what they don't forget is just how astoundingly amazing and cinematic Kim Novak looks.
Oh my God!
It's just
shout out to the clothing designer Jean-Louis. I want every goddamn outfit in this movie. I would love to have lived my life, except that horrifying yellow thing she winds up at the end.
That's the only when she's a human finally. It's like, oh, come on.
Don't watch the ending is my rule for this movie.
It's like a reverse glow up, all Breakfast Club.
Awful. Yeah.
I would consider that a glow up.
But I think it's stunning. Like it's one of those things that people call back to on this. And again, even if they're like, oh yeah, I think I remember that movie. Like I saw this movie kind of early on, like kind of on the younger side, and my dad's like, oh, you should see her in Vertigo. I'm like, oh, I don't even know what that is. It's like, oh, Hitchcock. It's like, oh, like that horror movie you saw, Psycho? Which no, not really, but it made an impression on me, like prepubescent. But certainly, it was. I think it works, and in a way that I was thinking about Roger Moore recently, like friend of the show Mike Scott, who has that Bottled and Bond podcast, talked about how in A View to a Kill, he was like, look, I got to stop doing this. Like I'm hooking up with girls that are like young up to my granddaughter. Like he had the self-awareness, unlike some other people that play James Bond, to notice that. Mm-hmm. And it is kind of like Jimmy Stewart, the age. I'm not making it ageist scores, but it is like, all right, it's kind of pushing the line here, man.
Well, Cary Grant desperately sought out the role that Jimmy Stewart.
Yeah.
Which wouldn't have helped the age thing, but
it's like they're both kind of old too. It's like, okay.
Well, and that's interesting because I think there's a certain amount of debonair charm that you get from Cary Grant that I do like Jimmy Stewart. I do like Jimmy Stewart, but I don't know generationally if some of his charm as an actor romantically has kind of gotten over in the same way. Mm-hmm. I think.
Yeah, this was his last role as a romantic lead.
Yeah,
right. Which it go out on top, right? It's like one of the better ones.
Sometimes good. It depended on the actors. If you see, there's a great Ziegfeld Girl melodrama, and he and Lana Turner, when he's still just an up and comer in a supporting role, they have terrific love scenes. A lot depends on the actress. I was shocked to read that he didn't think he and Donna Reed had chemistry in It's a Wonderful Life. And they had
really
phenomenal chemistry. I mean, that telephone scene is shockingly good. Like, really sexy.
That's
he had her fired off a later film and replaced by June Allison, who, if you know who that is, you're going like, what?
Yeah, didn't she replace? She's like replaced Judy Garland in like a film or two or a couple of films. Yeah, she's like, okay, we can get June Allison.
Yeah, I'm not sure he always knew his best, what he was best at, but. Depending on the actress, he could be really great, oddly effective in these kind of parts.
And I should say I am a Jimmy Stewart fan, at least of the acting. I don't want to get into necessarily like his totality as a human being, but it works. It works very well here, and like he, the shucks of it all, like absolutely. Even though it's, I mean, look, it's not Anatomy of a Murder level Jimmy Stewart, but like, he's not a bumpkin necessarily, but he has like there's a certain amount of cluelessness involved that is endemic to the time that I think.
Well, it's crazy that like Anatomy of a Murder was like the next year after this. Right. So I mean, I think we talked about like the run he was on at one point where it was like it was like Vertigo and then this and then Anatomy of a Murder. Like I guess he was all over the place, but Anatomy of a Murder was the first movie that he made where he's like, or maybe not the first movie he made, but it's the first after this like. Like, all right, well, we're cutting you off from being a romantic lead in any of these movies from now on. So it's like, you're not going to get the girl in the end, which is good because it would have been sleazy as fuck if
I'll say.
Like, oh, now that I got you off, got your husband off. But I mean, he's still flirting with her. So he's like, but there's not really like a romantic, there isn't really any romantic lead in fucking, Anatomy of a Murder.
Yeah,
but
right.
It's like, so he was kind of on that run. And then he's like, so he was still getting quality roles, like still getting.
He also felt Jimmy Stewart felt very miscast as well, so it makes you wonder.
In this film,
in Double and Candle, you think?
Yeah, that's what he said. He said he was very much. He thought he was miscast, and I'm like, he doesn't really think that highly of himself, or
it's
even.
It's got to be, but I mean, it's also one of those things. It was like a script that was in a It's like a script that was like, kind of floating around because it was a play. And then they tried casting with all these different people. So I could also see him being like, well, I'm not Rex Harrison. I'm not Cary Grant.
Why would you compare yourself to Rex Harrison of all? Come on now. You're a little bit better than that.
Like, when it's a well-known play, right? Like you automatically compare whoever you are to like.
And you're right. It makes a lot more sense if you're going to pivot from Rex Harrison to Cary Grant than Rex Harrison to Jimmy Stewart. Yeah, that's true.
Also,
could I just add that there's a problem with his character, which is that frankly he's not nearly good enough for her, and it's sort of very Bewitched-like. They kind of keep that the guy is kind of awful, really.
Yeah. Because it's not like I mean, he's not like a dime or anything. He's not like glowing personality necessarily. He's fine. He's just it's just a dude. He's just a dude.
He's just a dude, and he gets very queer. All of that. There's that wonderful scene where, he proposes marriage. She unexpectedly and on impulse accepts, and she says she will change. She'll become better, and all this stuff. And he says, "I won't have it. I want you exactly as you are." And that if you could end it there somehow, it would be a perfect romance. But of course, he finds out she's a witch, and from then on, he's awful and reveals that he's awful. So her being stuck with him in the end in that horrible yellow dress, and he likes her better than in black or leopard print.
You really got to get the.
We are not built the same, friend.
It's terrible.
You got to get the Holy Grail court in there, where it's like, how do you know she's a witch? And then he's like.
Oh yes, yeah.
Well, and that's one of the things. So I firmly believe this is a wonderful movie, and this is I advocate for it all the time. And I think this is actually a good example of an unorthodox romantic comedy in a lot of ways. But it does feel like the ending is just sort of like, all right. I mean,
you have to. You can see you have to have it.
It's got to be that way, I guess.
It's just unusually bitter, and I think that speaks to how sublime she especially is, how sublime I think the movie is, and how especially she is up to that point. That it actually is wrenching that you have to lose her as a witch and her whole way of life.
Yeah,
which is so
and she doesn't really get any. She doesn't get any say in it, right? Like she falls in love, and like it's not like they don't ask like. Or it's not like she's like, all right, well, I guess she does say she renounced, but then she's still able to perform magic after she renounces or claims to renounce, and then she falls in love. It's not really her choice. Like, I feel like her choice would have possibly been to stay a witch, and like, she'd find another Jimmy Stewart out there somewhere.
I mean, at least keep the apartment, But
they give her a lot of depth in that she's just a discontented witch, virtually because. She's like too good. She's too good a witch. She's not only too good for humans. She's too good for her fellow witches. They're charming, but she's the one with the real power, and she's the one who's the most beautiful, and the only one with any depth or complexity.
She's stuck with literally like the hackiest witch.
Absolutely.
That literally puts your name out there to be like, oh, I'm a mail order sorceress or whatever.
Yes, Madame de Boss. That's her rival. Exactly.
That's her rival, and that's the person that when he comes around and he's like, well, when Redlich comes around and he's like, oh, I want to see like the top witch. It's her, it's the hack.
Head bitch. Head witch in charge.
Yeah, I love the line, by the way, where he goes, she's a witch, and then his ex-girlfriend goes, I think you don't know how to spell.
Couldn't say those words back in the day, so we're still in a code era. Also,
go ahead.
Also, that her cat is actually her cat in real life.
I love that so much. So top tier cat acting in this picture, top tier.
I had a Siamese cat for like 11 years named Zoe, and Siamese cats are wonderful. They're like the dog. They're next to the savannah, which are like very wild, but like Siamese cats are like the dog of like the cat breeds because they're very vocal, very friendly, very you can really depend on them for emotional support. And when I first saw this movie many years ago, I remember my Zoe was like jumping at the TV screen because she was like, wow, it's a cat that looks like me.
Siamese representation.
Yes, they're great.
Trying to meet up with a friend, like,
hey. Yeah.
Hey, what's up?
Also, too, with the Siamese cats are known for having they kind of bred a lot of it out, but like the cross-eyed look, they're known for having like cross-eyed, and so I'm not really sure if any Siamese cats still hold that trait because of, crossbreeding and whatnot, same like with pugs and their breeding issues. But phenomenal.
What happens when you breed any animal, right? When you try to get it,
it gets
like
inbreeding.
Over time, because it ends up getting kind of like inbred, which is sad. But like, I don't know, I think Siamese cats are beautiful.
See, my mom did not want Zoe because she grew up watching Lady and the Tramp. So her Siamese cat representation was she's like, they're mean. I'm like, no, they're not.
They're mean.
It wasn't as bad as Jaws, but it definitely didn't do the Siamese breed any favors. For sure.
Your mom's like, they're mean. I saw it in that documentary. Lady
Lady and the Tramp.
And they really like sharing spaghetti with a dog for some reason.
Yeah. Who knew? Yep. Harkening back to not denigrating species or subspecies of animals. Clever script. There's some great lines, some clever wordplay here. I'm always a big fan of that. That always goes a long way. Definitely not some things that are you don't pick up on when you see when you're younger. It's like, oh, okay, no, I get what they're going for that. Yeah. And I think it's something where I could see it totally playing in like a theatrical run as well. Like it'd being something like where, okay, you get a crowd. People are going to be like, especially at that time. Because you got to think about this is, 58, right? So the movie's 58, plays earlier. So we're not even talking about, when you get into the 60s, I'm sure it would seem quaint by comparison, other than, the iconic and Academy Award nominated, I believe, production design and costume design. But why it plays and why ultimately I think we're talking about it now is that there's some great lines, like even just like the general Jimmy Stewart of it all, hasn't this cat got anything better to do? Couldn't you give him something to read? Great. That's good. It's like a tossed off line, but it's like it's utilizing his natural sort of like flustered presence in such a way to set things that these days it'd be like 3 paragraphs of exposition where it's like completely unnecessary. It's like, all right, we don't need the full backlog of like how the cat does the thing, right?
So I didn't know this, but it made a lot of sense when I found out that Richard Quine, the director, who obviously he got his start as an actor first. He was in like a lot of early TV shows. He was in a lot of early movies, like small time parts, and then he got into this crazy creative partnership with Blake Edwards that stopped right before Blake Edwards started doing the Pink Panther. But pretty much all of these actors are like frequent, like throughout his filmography, all of these actors appear again and again. Besides like Jimmy Stewart's the odd man out, like he actually is in this because Kim Novak he found, for their noir film they made together, which they had that scene that, that I played the intro. I think Pushover, they had that scene where it's like money isn't dirty, people are, or whatever. So that scene is like the first movie she was ever in, pretty much. And then Jack Lemmon and Ernie Kovacs are in pretty much all of his movies. And, and he would go on collaborating pretty much with Kim Novak once he found her. Like that was kind of his muse, I guess. Like they would keep doing movies. Like she stars in a lot of his movies, and then Ernie Kovacs and Jack Lemmon are like background characters in a lot of his movies. And a lot of them are like, most of them are comedies because he's like a comedy guy pretty much. But he was one of the biggest directors at Columbia by this point, which was kind of crazy because it was like, he had come up as an actor. So it's like, I don't think that happens that often. And it was like this accident where he wanted to make this movie. He was really pushing. He was like a well-paid actor. He wanted to make this one movie and they just couldn't find a director. And finally, I don't remember if it was Selznick or if it was like I can't remember who it was at Columbia that said this, but like finally one of the smaller producers was like, well, what would you just want to direct or something, like kind of sarcastically?
Yeah.
Like what?
He was trying so hard to like get this movie made, and he was like, I'll give it a shot. And then the guy was like, oh, I was kind of kidding, but it ended up working for him, and he got into, like this long career and this long relationship with like Blake Edwards, which has always been like one of the best comedy minds of this time period, kind of.
Well, and he kept at it. I mean, like what was like Prisoner of Zenda was like one of his last films, right? Yeah. So obviously he took to it, but it's so fascinating. Like it kind of blew my mind earlier because we got to talking about Sweet Smell of Success. And like, you think about that director swap up, it's like,
Oh, no, can't even imagine.
what? And I love Sweet Seal of Success. I mean, listen back to our episode on it. You can hear me opining about it for like 2 hours straight. But I was like, that's a different. Everything is different.
That's what Richard Quine's first movie role and first big stage role and movie role. My sister Eileen. That was his. Oh yeah.
Fantastic. Love it.
Well, with Jack Lemmon, a lot of people regard this as like one of his best roles, but he didn't really
care for it. I love it, man.
I love.
He's great.
I love when actors downplay like I'm like, no, you were great. It's like when Cillian Murphy talks about Red Eye. I'm like, dude, you were great in it. Stop it. Stop.
Well, it's not okay. So, but critically,
it's one of his most well-known roles.
Yeah, it's not like The Apartment or like Some Like It Hot or something. Which and then with Jack Lemmon, who's had such a long career, then you have people that are naturally going to invoke like, oh my god, he's so good in Glengarry Glen Ross, which he is, right? So you think about it with someone that's been in so many movies and put out so many performances. It's easy to be like, oh, that's dismissible. That's just a supporting role. That's a little bit of nothing, but it does really tie the movie together. And honestly, the Kovacs is great in this too. Like he's great. Like just that rumpled, just kind of what do you mean?
His line delivery,
gadfly.
Marlon Brando gets all this credit for muttered, turning aside, throwing away lines. Kovacs does it throughout. He's always hunting for the barber shop, and he'll be like muttering just a little bit off the not too much. Muttering like, all the time on his own preoccupations with drinks and haircuts.
Like all of his dialogue needs a good ironing, know. It's all rumpled.
I love the cinematography in this movie because also I don't know if you noticed this, but Kim Novak's hair was like a lavender blonde. Yes. They gave it a little tint.
They put a rinse in her hair for this.
Like shimmering lights, like.
I ended up renting it because it's on Tubi, but the Tubi version they really they fucked up the quality.
It's really downscaled, and I didn't want to watch like 40 minutes of ads.
Oh yeah, that's.
Well, see, I for some reason I wasn't getting. Yeah, I had my ad blocker, so I was only getting ads in the beginning, but the quality thing was really like throwing me off because I was like,
no, the quality is garbage. So,
I can tell that like the scene where they're in the scene where they're in the dive bar, the Zodiac, right? Mm-hmm. And they have the guy dance because like he does that French dance. I can't even do it justice, but he's singing the French song, and then you have Jack Lemmon playing the bongos behind him, which I love that like playing the tom toms or whatever is like his gig because he can't use his magic. He hasn't figured out how to use his magic powers to get rich. So he's just like a tom player because he can teach himself how to be like the best drummer. But not even like a real like a bongo drummer. You know what I mean? Like But
and that's
beautifully filmed.
Well, and it's
really
exactly
a portrait of like mid 20th century Bohemia in New York City maintains, I think, a kind of appeal. I mean, was a really sophisticated, world the way it's represented, and of course, it's very clearly being portrayed as a queer hangout, the witch world, and you see that picked up very much in Bewitched, and Bewitched is very well known for not only starring many gay, lesbian, etc. cast members, but letting them play them in that way. It's supposed to be all about this alternate lifestyle that, frankly, for me, again, the appeal of the movie is it is better. It's way better.
Yeah, why would you give it up?
America.
Yeah.
And so, of course, you want to go to that bar, the Zodiac Club. It looks delightful. It's a wonderful dive. You have to go downstairs. You have to, there's a deliberately campy, phony guy in a turban to greet you and ask what your sign is.
Yeah. That location was also used for Some Like It Hot.
Oh, really?
Oh, was it really?
Okay.
Yeah.
That doesn't
That's cool.
surprise me. But there's the thing where I really love the shimmering kind of green, like green and blue, when the guy's singing in French and he's dancing. Which they really did get a famous French actor to do that. And then I love that it feels like the sea. It feels like you're watching someone underwater. And then the woman says, "Oh, this song is about how a guy, a guy was like bewitched pretty much and ended up having to spend the rest of his life or the next 10 years of his life, punished by being chained up underwater, and he hated being underwater because he hates the water." And like she's telling that story to like the people, and Jimmy starts kind of listening to this like over the top. It's the hacky woman. It's like he was like he hated the water. And he's like, so he's telling like I don't know, like two very queer coded I recognize that actor, but I can't remember who it is.
Yeah, and I like that interaction is great too, because when you think about these, in music we call it the winner's history of rock and roll. Like the people that are telling the stories are usually tend to be like the grandiose gadflies that really are not like the pure genius talents of their field anyway, but they're the ones that get it written down. And it's so funny because if you think about that in terms of counterculture and like witchcraft sort of being a subtext for counterculturalism and these ideals later embraced in the 60s and kind of getting it through as the pill wrapped with some cheese wrapped around it, which in this case would be like the glorious nature of the wonderful romantic comedy of it all, works really well. And it's and everything has to be taken in context, of course, but it works really well for other reasons later on. And it's interesting to see that it was honored with like Academy Award nominations for the technicals, as right it should, but like went nowhere anything else. And then you got to remember, Vertigo, like one of Hitchcock's most ultimately, I would say one of his best films, and I'm a huge fan. And it's like, oh no, starring the same people, right? Oh yeah, this is a crazy year.
I have a sad story to tell, because not to talk about the cat again, but there was multiple cats who played
19
yeah,
cats.
But one in particular, poor Houdini, was an untrained cat who was very photogenic. Though they used Houdini for close-ups, but according to those on set, Houdini had to do a few of his own stunts, which the cat was not trained to do. So unfortunately, they had to chase him and scare him. He was so traumatized by the end of the filming that he was afraid of humans. And I'm like, I know.
Houdini.
Well, there's the whole thing where they're chasing the Pie through like the and then Pie has to not knock that much stuff down, which is another crazy part of it. There's so much like all the African and like Asian art that she has in her store. It's like and so he has to like jump through the thing, and it's like that has to be like a trained cat, but I guess not. Like I don't know. Like
and they I mean obviously have a cats who could be trained to do their own stunts and be photogenic, but like it's kind of sad that it's like, okay, we got this one cat for this scene, one cat for that scene. This cat is very affectionate with Kim Novak because it's her own cat, but this cat we actually traumatized to the point that it hates humans.
That's why there's rules about this stuff now.
Before the John Wick does the dog die is animal abuse on set.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't let's not talk about the rats Herzog used in his Nosferatu, right?
I love that he's over Instagram now. I love that. He's so
Werner Herzog,
yeah.
Werner Herzog, come on the show.
I'm trying to look up the Academy Awards this year.
Well, that's I got it. Right. So talking about the like what was happening around this time, right? Like this is something where context is everything. We like talking about award shows. We like talking about things are going on. It lost to the original Geeky. So another romantic comedy.
You mean Gigi?
Gigi.
Gigi.
I've never. Okay.
Thank heaven for little girls. That is. I don't know why people don't think that song's inappropriate, but
the whole movie is about.
Yeah,
it's amazing they got away with it. It's about the training of a courtesan.
Right. Oh, right. Yeah, that's right.
By
I have seen that.
By her great aunt and grandmother. They are training her in the field, and it's 1959. I mean, inappropriate to say the least. It's all about men leching at. They're completely naked.
I'm surprised that film was not like one of those. This aged poorly. Like no one talks about it because it won big at the Academy Awards.
That was my next sentence. It beat it in costume design too, which is
it's a very sophisticated film, and people focus on this one thing, and you're like, it's absolutely of a piece. Just move on a little further in the film, and you'll watch the same elderly Maurice Chevalier leching after the 17-year-old now trained courtesan, saying to the young man who's going to keep her, "Oh, she'll amuse you for months because she's so young."
That also won That also won Best Picture and Best Direction, and this is also the same year as Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, Defiant Ones. Like it was a pretty strong year. But that was the.
And you're seeing the
year.
rating system really start to unravel before it fully unravels in the late 50s. They're starting to get pretty daring.
Ironically, same amount of Oscar nominations for this as Vertigo, because Vertigo lost to South Pacific, by the way.
Oh,
and also got a nod for art direction. So art direction versus Bell Book and Candle.
God.
Yeah, I like talking about like the Corazon thing, and also actually Charles
South
Lawton,
Pacific, wow.
Like Spartacus is just 2 years after this, and like Spartacus has probably like some of the at least most explicit like courtesan and also like male sex boy kind of scenes with like those scenes like with the Tony Curtis scenes or whatever, like some of the most I think explicit that I've seen in a movie from that time. And you think about like Psycho coming out that same year too, and Hitchcock using that to try to like just put the last nail in the coffin of the studio system's code.
Yeah. Yep. It's amazing how it really represented the times. In America, they were a change, to say the least.
Well, it's funny we invoked Selznick, obviously too, right?
Yeah.
And we talk about Hitchcock, like one of his first actual directing nominations was for Rebecca, which is great, but it's far more of a Selznick vehicle than it is the Hitchcock movie, and the way that we think of him as an auteur and whatnot.
Yep.
So there is that weird transitionary period where it's kind of like stuff in between where you get kind of, all right, let's throw this against the wall and see if it sticks. But again, important to remember this Bell Book and Candle, like it was already known. It was a known commodity. It was popular.
Yeah, back then a lot of films were adapted from from stage shows because that's kind of something easy to adapt. Instead of coming up with something like very very like original.
It's crazy that Selznick was still up and kicking it for like a few years
because he did Gone with the Wind, right?
Well, he did Gone with the Wind, and the famous story is that he was popping Dexies like candy. So like I don't know. In 65, he's 63 years old. He has actually it says online like several heart attacks by that point. And it's like his entire film career, but especially Gone with the Wind, like most famously, that's why the entire thing kept unraveling. And such a long movie.
The Wizard of Oz,
because he was just popping fucking speed to stay awake, like the government issued kind of speed that they give to like soldiers. Like he was popping that essentially the entire time to stay up, because this movie they're like, this can't be made, like this is too technically difficult for this time period. He was like, no, I could do it, I can be the producer behind this, and he's throwing more and more money at it and throwing more and more speed.
And they're changing directors because wasn't he also like attached to the Wizard of Oz for like a day or two?
He was one of the people in there. We talked about it on the actual episode. Important to note, he won with Gone with the Wind, ostensibly for Victor Fleming, but it was best production. It wasn't called Best Picture at the time, right? Yeah. But he wins again for Rebecca next year, which is crazy to me because Rebecca is such a different kind of movie than Gone with the Wind.
So good, though.
It's fantastic, yeah. But what they both have in common is like this great use of like color, but and location and production design. But they could not be more different. But that's his like big the Selznick International, right? Because he leaves MGM in like 35, and so he has that run of being like it's a First Star is Born, First Prisoner of Zenda, Tom Sawyer, right? And then like this is all like near the end of that. So then that gets into like the Vanguard years. And there's Spellbound. He does Spellbound with Hitchcock. There's like Duel in the Sun. There's a bunch of things after there. Like he stays in the game and he keeps like kind of finding what he does all that stuff with Carol Reed, including Third Man. Doesn't he do Third Man? I think.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. Was it Selznick that?
I'll get my top fact checker.
Yeah, well, all right. So he's one of the. He's one of the.
It was. It's produced by Carol Reed. How do I know that? By the way, Alexander Korda and David Selznick nailed it.
Yeah. There was some kind. Now that I'm thinking about it, there was some kind of. I remember there was some kind of deal worked out where they wouldn't let Carol Reed do it unless there was like actual like hefty weight behind him. Which I mean, it makes a lot of sense. I was just reading I'm reading a book on Douglas MacArthur and like his his role after the war and like in the Korean War, and one of the movies that they showed while Europe's being like rebuilt pretty much, they actually showed Douglas MacArthur and his son. One of the few films that like they talked about seeing was Third Man, and they were in Japan at the time, like, and they were watching pretty much a movie about the rebuilding of Vienna because they couldn't be in Europe. So essentially, like, they were watching it as if it was like, oh, this is what must be happening over there. It's like, I don't know if that's
like newsreel.
Yeah.
Newsreel with Dutch angles. No, but I think it's notable, and it's notable for again, his character as a human I can't necessarily speak to, but all the different types of things he got involved with. It wasn't like necessarily the one thing. What was notable is that the producer was very hands-on to the point that like some of the things were credited to the director. It's like, he didn't let me do anything.
Yeah,
and that was pretty common.
Well, like the George Lucas thing when we were just talking about, where George Lucas was like, "Oh, I'm not going to let anybody do anything on Return of the Jedi. Like, I'm going to be back
Well,
here."
Another thing too that probably helped David O. Selznick's career was being married to Louis B. Mayer's daughter for a while there too. Given that little push, it's kind of like how it's kind of like how Norma Shearer being married to Irving Thalberg helped her out in the MGMJs back in the 30s. So there was a lot of connections, a lot of nepotism, but also too, Dave O. Selznick is one of the greats.
But like back then, I mean, this obviously, but like back then they didn't have the same any kind of stigma attached to it. I mean, I'm sure there was in the sense of like if you're
screwing the boss, that's how you get in all these roles.
Like, I'm sure there was I'm sure individual actors and stuff would be like, oh, they're just getting that role because they're screwing the boss. In fact, I mean,
Crawford said that about Nora Shearer back in the day. She's like,
I mean, Citizen Kane literally has that as like one of the big plots in it, right? He's always trying to get his But there's so David O. Selznick tries to make this movie. Thinking he's going to cast Jennifer Jones.
Which he was always thinking he was going to cast Jennifer.
Because he was married to her.
Yes. Yeah. He was obsessed with her, famously obsessed.
But that's the Clouseau thing. Funny, I just rewatched Wages of Fear. But Diabolique, Wages of Fear, like Henry Clouseau was always casting. Like, Wages of Fear is the most dudes rock movie that ever dudes rocked in that time period. But there's one woman... and it's his wife. And she's great, but it's just hilarious. It's like, oh yeah, there's like one speaking female role and it's your wife, huh? Okay. And she's a great actress.
Can I please get a role in this movie? And it's like, write a dame in there.
Like it's not like a Rebecca Pigeon level thing necessarily, but Vera Clouseau is awesome, especially in Diabolique, which is more of a lead / supporting rather than like, oh yeah, there's chicks here. But it is always funny when directors want to cast. I mean, look at the dark period of Tim Burton. How often did he cast Helena Bonham Carter in these incredibly mid movies that we've all tried to forget?
We watched. We watched Sweeney Todd on my stream the other night. People loved it. They're like, "This is how you adapt a stage show." I'm like, "Yeah, you take all the elements from the stage production and just switch room." But also, we watched Dark Shadows. We were like, "Oh God!"
But stage show, Bell Book and Candle.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I imagine we matched a Crowbar and Sweeney Todd when we were still talking about Bell Book and Candle, but.
How did it do? I should look up the Tony Awards because I'm assuming the Tony Awards were a thing back then. I wonder how well it did as a stage show on Broadway.
I mean, it was at the very least, it was very popular.
Yeah, because even back then, a lot of shows didn't run for so long. Like a lot of people assume, people think of Cats or Chorus Line or just actual musicals, but there are some stage shows that have run for a long time. If not, they move off Broadway or they do a tour. Because I'm surprised they've never thought to revive Bell Book.
Yeah, I don't see anything about awards. But they did. So it ran for. It opened at the Ethel Barrymore Theater on November 14th, 1950, and it ran for 233 performances, closing on June 2nd, 1951. And then it moved over. It moved on to a U.S. national tour, obviously, which is what would happen back then. Like you would open it up in New York City and then move it outwards. And then they opened it up in London, which that's when they I guess they also had they had it directed by Rex Harrison was also directing the stage show. As well as acting in it.
He would we say he's grown accustomed to directing?
No.
I would not in fact say that. I was enheartened. I'm just going to change the topic completely. Kim Novak's still alive, and there's a cool documentary about her.
Yes,
and I wish we could have seen it.
I know. Unfortunately, my
Pershing
friends
died.
who are executive producers, Todd Hughes and P. David Ebersol, they're going to be. There's a meeting that I'm not sure if they had yet. Todd told me there's a meeting coming up, and we're going to decide what the release, what the deal is going to be. I guess, or try.
Kim Novak, come on, movie night extravaganza.
I know.
Well,
Ahead of the curve.
They didn't even know themselves yet.
They're apparently Sydney Sweeney is going to be
but
playing
it's great
her.
to have her back in the news. And
well,
at that age, and she's still riding her horses and living on her ranch and painting. And
good for her. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
talk about a smart move, man.
There's a movie about because of her and Sammy Davis Jr. had a thing, which
it's coming out. It's new.
Yeah, with
Pullman
Sydney
Domingos.
Sweeney playing.
Scandalous.
That was the famous thing where JFK wouldn't let Sammy Davis Jr. I think perform because he had been.
It's an arrow casted to that time period, right? Eileen, didn't you just write something on this? Like recently?
Yes, I wrote a long piece on Kim Novak and the appeal of Kim Novak, and I mentioned.
I mean, the appeal.
Her eyes.
You can look right at her. You can see the appeal of Kim Novak.
Yeah. Your favorite actress, Sydney Sweeney, being cast.
There was someone on my feed who said she's a dumb airhead blonde, and that's what she exudes. Why does anyone like her? I very quickly unfriended that person. By the way, I was so mad.
It's so weird though.
It's a weird take on Kim Novak.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, if anything, that's Sydney Sweeney. But like, she doesn't look like Kim. She's got the poor white girl eyes, is what we all say about Sydney Sweeney. I'm like, she doesn't have like that.
She's not even beautiful. She's got a smushy face and a big bust, and who cares? I mean, I couldn't believe the casting. Shocking.
Yeah, I'm like, there's probably other, I don't know who, but like I'm just surprised that this affair would be such a big, thing to make a biopic over, I guess. I mean, why not? What about when she's older and she's still kicking it? I mean, but that's the point of the documentary.
At the same time, I also wonder how much like the Kennedys kind of centered that because she was rumored to be having an affair with RFK. Not Kim Novak. Come over here, RFK. She's the hot one.
I hate that we have to qualify that.
Obviously, there's a fascination because in the 50s it wasn't allowed, so it was going to wreck their careers if it came out. And the story it's part of the story I wrote that supposedly Harry Cohn, the head of Columbia, in trying to handle this thing and having a mob hit, Sammy Davis Jr. is threatened with a mob hit that they're at least going to break his legs or they're going to do something to him if he doesn't give up Kim Novak. He has to enter into an arranged marriage to kill the story that's coming out in Confidential magazine. So they set him up with someone he's dated before. She's black. She's a single mom. She takes $25,000 to agree to stay in the marriage for a year. Obviously, it's a loveless marriage. He goes to his deathbed saying, Kim Novak was the love of my life.
They always said Sammy Davis Jr. He had a thing for white women,
Yeah, he went to married to what's her name? My Zetterling. She's another.
My Zetterling's awesome. I've actually gone through kind of a deep dive in her stuff recently.
But, I love watching that episode of Sammy Davis Jr. on All in the Family.
Yeah. But anyway, so I think that's why it's an oddly. It has a lot of tendrils through the Hollywood system,
the greatest love story never told, in a way.
Yeah, exactly.
There's like that famous quote that's like, "You never want to be the first, the first black anything, really." But like his relationship, to the Rat Pack, where they're kind of, I mean, obviously they're all friends with him, but there's still like that distance there, where it's like there still is some kind of like a racial dynamic, even though they like bring him on stage. Like they made him the butt of pretty much every single joke on stage. So there's like that feeling where it's like, when someone does like break barriers like that, it's like always like kind of a tragic story, and it's like really sad that that's like the story of American history.
Yeah.
Now, Conan, who back to like
real quick, I gotta shout out The Girls, which is the My Zetterling movie that I was thinking about. That's basically a retelling of Lysistrata. It's one of her first directorial debuts, and I just don't know when we're gonna mention her again on this show anytime soon. So I just figured I'd want to throw it out there because it really blew me away when I saw it last year. Kristina.
Was Kim Novak nominated for an Oscar for this?
No.
Or was she doing because of Vertigo?
I might have closed the page. Why don't we get to those super chats and I'll go look.
I don't know.
that are stacking up.
I don't think it would have been Bell Book and Candle. But,
it would have been Vertigo, if anything. Let me see.
I look up, I look down. Oops, wrong film.
Okay. No. Wow. Susan Hayward. I Want to Live. Best Actress.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Powerhouse, man. That's a great.
All right. Elizabeth Taylor also got a nom for Cat in a Hot Tin Roof. No Kim Novak for Vertigo or for Bell, Book, and Candle.
I don't think she got a tremendous amount of respect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spencer Tracy got nominated for Old Man in the Sea that year.
There's
I remember reading
You'll be
that.
great, reference. There's Roy Cohn and Senator McCarthy Blacklist days.
Yeah.
I forgot how young Roy Cohn was back then, and
It's kind of So Defiant Ones actually got 9 nominations this year, and I think so. It won for best cinematography, which this was not up for, and written for the screen, non-adapted screenplay.
Yeah. Well, also too, I feel like even back then, like certain horror, they were still not really into giving like suspense and thrillers and horrors, unless they were like a noir type of feel to them, would do well at the Academy Awards.
Mostly not romantic comedy either. So
yeah.
Well, it's funny. So being Gigi, the other big winner in there, because Defiant Ones is that's Poitier and Tony Curtis. And that's like one of the their prisoners.
Very prestige.
Yep. They're on the run together, and it's solving racism.
Yeah.
Also, like Green Book.
Yeah, it's the proto Green Book, except for this movie's good.
Thank God. Yeah.
Oh God, PTSD.
But it's interesting to see what gets over and what doesn't, and what kind of stands the test of time. Because I feel like there is first of all, Vertigo, like some of Hitchcock's work just kind of hit at the wrong time, and some hit right time, and like it's lauded as a classic even now. Mm-hmm. Rope's gotten a reappraisal that like people are like all about Rope now, as well you should. It's incredible filmmaking. I feel like Vertigo, its star has only been on the ascent the past 20 years. Like it shows up on all these sight and sound polls and stuff now, again, as well it should. And I feel like for a long time, Bell, Book, and Candle was just kind of seen as like just, whatever, that's just disposable. This is a bit of fun. Who cares?
It's Bewitched, but would you think that but with how popular Bewitched became, because I mean, we all, would Bell, Book, and Candle be given like a retrospective, like, oh, maybe, we overlooked this.
Right. And that's kind of what I was driving at. I mean, certainly Saul Sachs didn't feel that way. That's why he totally stole the idea and made millions of dollars on it. And I like Bewitched. Bewitched is very charming. Don't get me wrong.
Uncle Arthur, like, come on now.
But then, so this goes back to the conversation from earlier about the Indian. Like, one of the reasons why Bewitched works is because, like, she does still have her powers, right? And it's like, oh, yeah, what? Don't do, And then, there's I Dream of Jeannie, too, which is exactly the same thing, but just like, oh, we need another magical shit broad. What are we going to do?
That was the advantage of serial TV. If she doesn't use her powers or somehow loses it, then there's no show.
There's no show.
Alone
it's just a married couple.
But why? Yeah, but like it's like with the ending Bell, it's like, why though? Like I get it, but like it's almost like it's like maybe I'm looking into it, but it's like almost being shameful of being a woman, like having powers, having some type of
it was the 50s.
Well, and think of what it represents. She's got total the implication is very strong. She's got total sexual freedom. The whole way she lives, you can tell. The loose love lives that they've had. They've got power. They've got control. She's highly educated. She's traveled. They don't even get into the issue of age. Are they ageless? We don't know. But there's so much power accrued to being a witch in relationship to the usual kind of way a woman in love would be portrayed, or a woman in having sex would be portrayed. That I think the threat of it has to be put down, even in something as light as this. I think,
and this is coming, McCarthyism, and with Arthur Miller's The Crucible, which talks about the Salem witch trials and all that. So like it's it's nowadays people would do like thesis on like something like this and find like all the little connections and like womanhood and sexuality and the McCarthyism. Like if this had been like an actual like novel, I know my senior year of high school, my English teacher, I did Pride and Prejudice, but like she printed us out like a giant manuscript for each of us that had like so many different perspectives on the books that we were doing. And so like I had like a feminist perspective, a more political perspective, or this and that and the other thing. So I feel like with Bell, Book, and Candle, there's more to, look into now. That there's so many different ways to interpret it.
Yeah, but
the sheer power, imbalance is so huge that's what, of course, powers the humor of Bewitched. It's there's no way Darren can live with knowing, but at the same time, he always needs her and
always needs her to do stuff for. And like constantly.
And they replaced Darren, and no one cared.
Yeah, nobody cares about Darren. Darren's like, it's
so
perfect.
You can tell by that standard, she can't be allowed to. If you watch A Married a Witch, she can't be allowed to have her powers in the end either.
Same, absolutely.
So
you know how many times Angelique Bouchard had to give up her powers for love on Dark Shadows?
Oh, really?
A few times.
A few times, exactly.
Yeah, and isn't
love the greatest power of all?
Well, that's interesting that you say that, because the movie is trying, probably the play as well, is trying to deal with something about love that I actually like, which is a kind of inherent power and danger of love.
Yeah.
So when in the end he says, "Who's to say what's love, what's witchcraft?" They're both so overwhelming and powerful, and I'm glad that's there, because so much of like commentary about love or ways of representing love now in movies, it's important to have it be wholesome and good for you. Balanced diet. I can't stand it.
Not to quote Bruno Mars, but girl, you're amazing just the way you are. Like, come on, why does the woman have to
do that in a
change?
Jimmy Stewart voice. Girl, you're amazing.
This is why I prefer Grease 2 over Grease 1. You know why? Because the guy has to change.
Okay, all right.
We're getting all over the place.
Once Grease is invoked, it's time for a full reset. But I do agree. The ending does stop this from being elevated art, and I think it hurts it with a modern sensibility because, again, it's a wrong message. The messages he had to change. It's a Little Mermaid message, right? He had to give up everything what she was.
He doesn't even want her to change. He's like,
he's not interested.
It's just what she has to give up. It's not only her personal style and clothing. So she's got that awful dress on. All of that wonderful sexualized mask art from
even the shop's different. You're right.
Asia, from all that speaks her education, her travel, her sexual sophistication. That's all got to go too. So
it looks like a Bed Bath and Beyond now.
Yes,
like what are we doing?
That's what's in the
silly.
Not to make a
Lifetime supply soap.
Not to make a similar joke to Adam Sandler, but that's what's in the Beyond section of the Bed Bath and Beyond is all those masks.
Well, Bed Bath and Beyond is usually.
I thought you were gonna say Kim Novak, and then I was gonna go start shopping at Bed Bath and Beyond.
Speak of in the back of usually the Bed Bath and Beyond and Spencer's are next to each other at the mall, so at least at my mall.
All right. Well, I don't know.
Can we read these super chats so we can get on with our lives?
We read them.
Oh, did we? Okay. I thought there was more. Okay.
We read them.
Oh, we read them already.
Oh, I know. I do like. I feel like there's like this crazy moment here where it's like it's between like the absolute. I mean, culturally, just in general, right? Like between the absolute freedom of like the new Hollywood period, which would be like in the next decade, at least by the end of it, and the old like the classic Hollywood. Like it's pretty fitting. This is like the last Jimmy Stewart romantic lead before he literally rides his horse off into the west. Like,
I think that makes it more. I think that makes it. There's something interesting about that, right? And there's something very interesting about that. And it again, I maybe didn't underline the point enough, but I do feel like if you're making a list of unorthodox or interesting romantic comedies, this has got to be on it.
Yeah,
because it's got all of the hallmarks of what you consider those genre or that pastiche of genres, and it's unique. They did try to. They were going to remake it with Alicia Keys, right? And I was like,
I read that. I was like, what?
Abort!
No, you know who can do like the Zoe Kravitz could though. I think
I could see that.
She's got.
I mean,
I don't really like unless they did something different with it. I don't really.
Change the ending. I don't know.
I hate for Zoe Kravitz to catch flack on a classic film that she has no part of. I don't really think it very highly of her acting, frankly. But shots fired.
So what I was thinking about.
I can't wait for her to surprise me pleasantly at some point in the future.
That's what Zoe was. My cat was named after.
I did like her in that movie Dope, where she's the strange kind of older like kind of junkie-ish character that he like is trying to date or whatever in that movie. I don't know. I like that movie, but I like that this is like the beatnik period too, right? Like her life as like a bohemian is like kind of really in this moment. I mean, I don't even know how much people in like that bohemian moment like really thought about it as like a cohesive movement. I mean, I don't know.
Well, that's Bob Denver was Dobie Gillis was like around this same time. Like that's where which is the most hilarious, McDonald's version of like the beatnik culture you ever could possibly see. But like it was something that was, oh, hey, we can tell these kinds of stories, and then like, oh, we can just set it around beatniks because nobody knows what that is. But they have these hallmarks of visual and auditory shorthand, which is great and hilarious. But that's like 58, and I think Dobie Gillis is like 59, something along those lines. Which is, by the way, featuring Bob Denver.
Another movie. I mean, we did a classic movie episode where I got totally trounced on it, but we talked about Man with the Golden Arm, and that's like, I think that's like the second role Kim Novak plays. But that's like another one. I mean, this is the time period where you could make Frank Sinatra like a junkie. And people will be like, all right.
Exactly.
Like, he was still trying to be a serious actor then. He can still trying.
That one was great, Eileen. The guest in no way, shape, or form ever wanted to talk about the movie in question, and he got on Forrest for trying to maintain order on the show.
Oh, no. Really? That's hilarious.
He said let's see. I was talking about oh God! What he said? That was the waterboarding episode too, right? Yeah, that was, like, he should be waterboarded because I was like, he should be imprisoned. And we're talking about what the why can't I think of the reporter's name? Whatever. Anyway, crazy episode, early episode of this show.
Waterboarding that one.
And he was talking trash about. Anyway, it doesn't matter. This, you know what? Go back in the archives and listen to it. It was pretty funny. That's the only reason to listen to it. It was a guy from Real People. That's what. That's.
Yeah, it was John Barber.
John Barber. That's right.
And he had known Frank Sinatra. So he invited him on to talk about Man with the Golden Arm.
He did not want to talk about.
And he talked about Frank Sinatra, but he mostly wanted to just kind of say whatever the fuck he wanted. So, and he was like what? He was like 90. So he was he was really not having it. We had him on for 2 hours.
I remember now. So he was talking trash about Dan Rather, and then I was like, well, he's got some show on Access where he's interviewing people. I was like, and it was like, oh, he should be put in prison. I was like, oh, well, he's on basic cable. Yeah. That's practically the same thing off the cuff. Felt really good about that. And then he goes, he should be waterboarded. And I'm like, okay.
So he
all right.
What did Dan Rather do?
I don't know. He was really mad.
So he had this whole thing. I remember this now. It sticks out in my mind. So he had this whole thing where Jim Garrison, the guy who was the JFK guy, right? That was in Oliver Stone's JFK, like that movie's about him, like the so that guy had died and had left his papers, like they were really good friends. So he left his whole collection of like Kennedy papers, pretty much, to John Barber. Like they were very close at that time because he was he was pretty big at NBC, and he ended up getting kicked out of NBC for like even daring to suggest they should look into the JFK assassination. So he had this big bone to pick because Dan Rather at one point had like ambushed Jim Garrison and like put one of the nails in the coffin that ended up with his like early death. Pretty much.
Okay, that's pretty big, actually.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
And with that context, it makes sense. But the fact that he was trying to bully you for maintaining order in the show was hilarious.
Well, no, not that.
don't watch it.
It's episode 64, Man with the Golden Arm, Michael and John Barber.
It's a pretty incredible sequence, but and then at one point he was like, he kept trying to direct it to the movie and he got yelled at for it. I was like, dude, what do you think we're doing here? Like, come on, man. But the man's in his 90s. He gives exactly 0 Fs. You know?
He eventually was like, oh, I gotta feed the cats, and then he like got off the computer.
Yeah. It's great.
I will say one thing. A lot of people are like, hey, Kristina, why is your thing Kim Novak's plastic surgeon? Well, when she made a rare appearance at the 2014 Academy Awards, people were like, what happened to her face? And then she's like, oh, I had fat injections that I thought would look good, better than a facelift, and now I regret it. Now look at her.
Oh, so such a bummer.
So beautiful.
She also had like I was watching a clip of her that I could pull up. Like I did pull up, like I saved the clip. She's talking shit about people talk. So I guess she at the time, this was like 2010. But at the time, she had like, I don't know if it was Facebook or whatever it was, but like people have been talking shit online. So she goes into this whole thing about cyberbullying, and she's like, "We got to get back at these people. They can't control us." Well, I guess they won, but like, so she's talking about it. She was talking about how she's had like pretty bad like mental health struggles in like the decades since
That's
her
horrible.
Like her stardom. Yeah. And so like I think it's the combination of those things made it so that she made a lot of like way less appearances.
And she's Kim fucking Novak. I mean, look.
Yeah, I mean,
a weird amount of those appearances have been screenings of this movie, though.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Kim Novak, come on, movie night extravaganza.
Yeah, please, by all means.
There's like one
we love you.
Famous one for Turner Classic Movies that she did in like 2010. That's the one where she goes off on people that talk shit online. And then there was like another one that she did in like.
I believe her exact quote is "talk shit, get shot."
There was another one that was like 2013 or 14 where she goes in, like really in depth and a bunch of stuff with this where she screened it with the people, and then she's talking about how she thinks that Jimmy Stewart's watching them watch the movie from heaven. She's like, oh, I think Jimmy Stewart's looking down on us watching this movie, and
maybe
it's like,
appreciate it.
But it's also like, damn, I hope Jimmy starts looking at something better than like people. He's like, what
people watching a movie?
I ain't on the cinema today. I gotta go down here and check.
Bell, book, and candle.
I like the idea though.
One of the great roles I've ever done.
I like It's a Wonderful Life, but he's trapped in like this purgatory where every time one of his movies comes on, he's stuck watching it.
He has to watch. He did a lot of movies too.
You see like this like fat American family all sitting around watching It's a Wonderful Life, and he's like, what is this? And they're like all wearing like Trump gear and stuff. And he's like make America great again. When did America stop being great?
Oh man. There we go. Jimmy Stewart, everybody. R.I.P. to a legend. By the way, I have this loaded up. So here's Kim. This is one of the great. Look at one of the great eyebrows in cinema.
Goals, man.
I mean,
they're slow. They're like like you can skeet on those eyebrows.
Yeah. And she pulls it all off. Boy, howdy, does she? Yeah. And again, it's crazy to think about, and like if the sensibility of it, not the ending, but the sensibility overall feels more 60s and 50s.
Oh yeah, it seems very much, and it seems like exactly right for her because she seems like she didn't wear underwear famously at a time when everybody wore way too much underwear. I mean, full bras and all that stuff. She wouldn't wear bras.
Free the coons. Let's go.
I don't know how Jimmy Stewart put out. He's like
Sammy Davis Jr. probably like that.
Kind of shit. So in Vertigo as Judy, she doesn't have a bra. You can tell.
Oh golly. Oh
yeah, exactly. But when she wanted the pain, and she was just this very bohemian type. So I love those scenes in her live workspace where all she's got is that semi-sheer curtain, that pale blue curtain, and then she lives back there, and she's just like so fat. That is the most fabulous live workspace anyone ever came up with.
There's everything about this movie is like, well, I don't know how you're pulling this off, but let's assume witchcraft. But it's an incredible space.
Yeah, her eyes are, perfect. I mean, she's got very hypnotic eyes. Like, it's just it's very few. I mean, if you think about like the Hitchcock blondes were kind of notorious for like having a very, besides being blonde, but they all had very similar, almost looked like bone structure in a way. They all have like a look to them that was like, these are like the Hitchcock blondes or whatever.
They're all very classy, Grace Kelly, Tippi Hedren look the most alike.
Yeah. I can't believe she's still alive. Tippi's still alive too.
No, what is she? 99, 100? I don't know what she is.
Yeah, I forgot she's Melanie Griffin's mom.
If she watched the movie Splitsville, she got to see her granddaughter actually act in a good movie. And be good. Hey everybody, let her up. Go to Johnson.
I don't know anyone else that could have.
I was rooting for her.
Like this face and fucking Jimmy Stewart, like he's not prepared for like this world that he's in. I feel like in this movie in some ways, like, he gets bewitched and he's like, I'm on this. How did I get up here? And she's like, and he doesn't even question it. She's like, you wanted to go run out in the snow, and he's like, oh yeah, sure, yeah. Like,
Forrest, you actually reminded me when on rewatch for this. The conversation with Merle where she's like, are you jilting me? It's like, well, that's a heavy word. Let's just say we're uncoupling. Is that the first usage of uncoupling?
Uncoupling,
Yeah.
In a movie? Because I was like, wow. And this on the day that what's her name? God damn it, I can't.
Nicole Kidman?
Nicole Kidman, yeah, and then the country dude who who looks like it was created by AI. That guy.
Yeah.
They uncoupled.
Ferrari moving on from Nicole Kidman. No wonder. I had a feeling they were like not gonna work out because she's always going to the movies by herself.
She's locked in that hell dimension at AMC.
No, my thing that I was imagining, because I remembered you saying
takes
that.
up a lot of time.
And then I was imagining that as soon as they broke up, they opened the gate and she gets to run out of the AMC hell dimension. She's like, I'm free. I'm never going to see a movie again.
And she can barely move her face too. It works out perfectly.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate. But I do wonder, is that the first usage of the word uncoupling in a movie? Because it's like, this is like the late 50s. Like, wow.
Yeah.
I never thought about that.
What is it? Conscious uncoupling? That's
conscious uncoupling?
Yeah. Who said that? I forgot.
It was
it
was Coldplay and it was Coldplay. Chris Martin and I'm just gonna call him Coldplay and Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yeah,
I like the idea that like the modern Jimmy Stewart. He's like, call us the United States and China because we've got to do some conscious uncoupling. Also, I love my favorite line in this. My favorite line is when she's trying to explain the witch thing. Like she's trying to explain it and he doesn't believe her. And he's like, whoa, have you been accused of some un-American activities?
He says very American, early American.
Yeah. Early American. I love that. That line's great.
There's the other line that stuck out to me because I knew about this, I guess. When he's talking about, he goes on this whole kind of weird rant where he's talking about the Kinsey report, which was the first
that's right. That's a good line.
The first Kinsey report is about like homosexuality. The second one is about the bombshell in the Kinsey report is that like women can come too, like pretty much like that was that report.
And then many men were having gay relationships.
Yeah. That was the first one, and then the second one was like women's sexuality. It was like a decade later. So I looked this up, and I think that's the one he's referencing that sold as much as it did. He's like, everyone's buying the Kinsey report. I was surprised.
Fun fact about
trying
me:
to be the publisher of that. Like,
when I took psychology my junior year in high school, we all had to do a report on a psychologist. People were doing Freud or Erickson, but guess who I picked, guys?
Kinsey.
Wow.
Yes, I did. My teacher was like, "Whoa, you like a challenge?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do. I'm not gonna do Freud. I can't do cocaine and think about my father. Like, what's going on here? Come on now."
The modern one has to be like the modern version has to be like he wants to be the publisher that gets like the Da Vinci Code, right? Like that has to.
Yeah.
Was it Liam Neeson that played Kinsey? Like that biopic? Like
I didn't see it
so long ago.
Yeah, that's actually a really good one.
I remember it. Like Laura Linney's. I remember being okay.
Yeah,
I remember being
It's just so surprised. Like, wow, women, and also too. I guess they also learned that women can fake it. Like
he's like I'm psychologist Frank.
Oh, what do you mean? We gotta launch a full investigation.
he's like I'm psychologist. I'm psychologist Frank Kinsey.
I think it was before. It was before all those movies. If I remember correctly, it was like 2000. It was like early 2000.
2004, one of the best years in film.
I just really like the idea of he's like doing surgery on someone's brain. I know he's not a brain, but he like pulls something random out, and he's like, "I've never seen this before," and it's just with a naked gun.
I don't know who you are, but I'll find you and I'll make you come.
You know the phone talking to Jimmy Stewart. Jimmy Stewart's like, I don't think I like that. I've never tried it before. Oh God! Oh Doc, I think I just did.
So Bell, Buck, and Candle is a movie starring Jimmy Stewart and Kim Novak.
Bell hooks and candle.
God damn it.
One thing we could say is that I really like about it. You can watch it in the fall as your pre-Halloween viewing, and then you can watch it as a Christmas movie.
I forgot about the Christmas of it all.
Take that, Nightmare Before Christmas, which is a Halloween movie, not a Christmas movie. That's a fact.
Can we stay on the topic of this movie, please?
Yeah, for like a quarter second, maybe. Like, I beg of you.
It's a Halloween movie, and it's a Christmas. Well, it's not. It's mostly a Christmas movie, I guess, but it's definitely a movie that you want to watch on Halloween because it feels very thematically perfect for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's witches too, right? And again, that's why we're talking about it right now because we're in a month of these movies. But it's I think it holds up better than people remember.
Yeah.
For a lot of if they remember it. And again, it's also right. The ending somehow is not as important as the path to getting there. I feel like, and the developments of the character, which are rich, and one of the reasons I wanted this to be on the docket is because it is the first time that you kind of see things from the witch's perspective. Like they have a coven, they hang out, they talk amongst themselves. You know, they interact with each other. You know, one of them is a little extra. Yeah. You know, that's Jack Lemmon, by the way. And you know, it shows that side of things that isn't just evildoers doing evil. It's like, no, this is like an alt society thing, which again is shorthand for counterculture at the time. And using the whole beatnik thing, the beatnik club is like, well, this is naturally where they would gravitate towards.
Well, and it is nice too how modern it is because, you know, I Married a Witch locates itself in what most people associate Salem, witch trials, Puritans, and all that jazz, and then comes up to modern times, and this is just as modern. Witches are the most modern people that exist. Everyone else is kind of old-fashioned compared.
Shout out to witches though, because they clock vampires immediately by saying, "Do not put welcome mats on your front door."
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. They said that. They warned people. That. Yeah, I was looking it up when I was doing research for Sinners, and I was like, really?
It's witches that do me witches, you know. But no, I like that this kind of builds it does a nice amount of world building. Like before that's you know, before that's assumed as a thing for assumed as a thing for movies. But I like that it's a very bohemian world, but it also feels like there's these very loose rules. So it's not because obviously a TV show would go can't tell people they're a witch, and then the TV show version of any of the stuff is somebody finds out somehow, right? And in this, it's there's actually no there's no rule binding them to not telling people. It's just it's a bad idea. So of course it's Jack Lemmon that's I'm gonna tell the first guy the first guy that comes around, I'm gonna tell that guy that I'm a warlock.
In regards to recent events, witches are now more popular than ever, and people
hopefully these movie episodes will be more popular than ever.
Yeah, especially considering with recent events involving witches on Etsy. But you know, by the way, I'm still looking for that specific Etsy witch. You know, but.
I found her on Etsy. She was a witch. I don't know. I like the. I mean, this does kind of feel very sitcom-y. I like the dynamic where it's there's this weird older dynamic that I don't think gets replicated in movies enough with comedies where there's the little gang. So they're leaving the Zodiac, and it's it's the aunt and Jack Lemmon. And Kim Novak, and they're kind of this little squad or whatever. And each of them kind of has their own thing going on, and they're just they're in communication. But Jack Lemmon's too busy trying to turn out streetlights, which not a great power. You can just
he's got very minor powers.
Yeah. And then
I'm gonna turn this couple's horn on so they second cock block this dude. Yeah, great.
I'm too drunk. I like the Ernie Kovacs character, but he's just too drunk to get it.
Yeah,
at all. And then he's like, all right. And then he turns it off, and then he's like, wow, you turned it off.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because the Ernie Kovacs character, and we gave him a shout out earlier on the show, but he works so well not just as the straight man like these antics, but also is like he's trying to capitalize on. Well, I know all the best witches. They're close personal friends of mine. Like he's really, you know, just very boastful about it, and it's like hilarious when he's unloading all this to an actual warlock. It's like, oh yeah, really? Okay, you know, it's all that stuff is very situationally funny. I could tell in a
second if you're a witch. I could tell immediately. Yeah, a room full of witches. It's very nicely.
So great, and like I said, his thought balloons need ironing. You know, everything it's so perfectly works because it doesn't require the Jimmy Stewart character to have to do that himself. So you get someone else entering that world, and then like the whole subplot of like, oh, okay, well they write this book, and you know, oh, that's gonna expose them, so you can't let that get out in the world. So we'll cast this book because it's basically like, here's how to do witchcraft. Here's how to do a witchcraft. Everybody, the book.
They even have that on Amazon that you can buy.
Sure. I mean, times have changed, right?
I like that the book that they end up writing, she's able to just all publish it. Like, it's not just that, like, you know, she's like, the witch is Jimmy Stewart, so he rejects it. She makes the spell so all publishers
Which, you know, anyone who's ever shopped a book around is like, that happened to me. That was me. That happened to me.
No, that was which I must have gotten in the way of a coven.
You know what's
one of this, just real quick. One of the best things about that is as he goes, he tries to pitch out. Well, I don't know. What about voodoo virgins? What is that?
Oh yeah.
But he has another voodoo among the virgins. He's like tries to pitch another book on the way out, which is like that's.
Well, yeah, there's been many.
And Jimmy Stewart's like, no, man, we're not doing it.
He has that perfect voice that, like, it's clear, but he's mumbling the whole time. He's like, you wouldn't be interested in my next book, right? Voodoo among the virgins. It's like it's done in such a way that it's like it's almost like the voice is like overwhelming everything else. You know, like
yeah.
You know, it's funny too. There's
even his business with the drinks when he doesn't care if it's
I don't care. Yeah, exactly.
Bourbon, and then they give him something, and then he's like, yeah, and he drinks it. And what do you want? What was this?
And the second time he walks out with the glass too. Did you notice that? He like takes the glass with him to go. He's taking it to go. All right. You know.
All right. So I have something kind of weird, I guess. So because of like the connections as to other stuff we're talking about in this, but so the movie that Richard Quine did right before this was Operation Madball, and the stars of it were Jack Lemmon, Ernie Kovacs. They were the two.
Oh, okay, Kovacs and Lemmon are both in that one. Okay.
And then Catherine Grant from Anatomy of a Murder, who was the woman that was married to Bing Crosby. Arthur O'Connell from Anatomy of a Murder, and then Mickey Rooney. Hopefully not doing Asian face. I don't know about this time. But then the next movie they did after this was, again, like Richard Quine did, was Jack Lemmon, Ernie Kovacs, and Doris Day. And it happened to Jane. So this is like this he has this cast of characters, and then later on he did another movie with Jack Lemmon, Ernie Kovacs, and Kim Novak, but not with Jimmy Stewart, where and it's like, so he has these this cast of characters that he continually works with.
Wow. And when Christopher Nolan or whatever, people are like, oh, I can't believe they're casting all these same actors again, like. Everyone does it.
I mean, it's a little bit different in the sense of, back then it's like there were certain like studios would sign.
Yeah, if you're at a studio and they're there.
The pool of actors that you had. I mean, unless it's something like Vertigo, where they actually loaned out, Columbia Pictures had Kim Novak, they signed her because of Richard Quine. And then they loaned her out so Alfred Hitchcock could use her, or they loaned out, or they would pick up someone like Jimmy Stewart. So it's like there is that, like they trade people off, but I think it has to be like a meaty enough role that it's worth it, right, for Harry Cohn or whatever.
Yeah, I mean they almost did it for Shirley Temple and Judy Garland, but
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
that fell for because Jean Harlow died or something like that.
I'm pretty sure there's like one of the first movies that because originally Richard Quine, before he was at Columbia, right, he became one of their like best director, like they became one of the people that was like on the marquee, but he was originally signed to MGM, and his first movie that he was at MGM, actually it was the one My Sister Eileen was with Judy Garland and Mickey Rooney, and he and Mickey Rooney were like, I don't know, just like they were tight, like real, like nice. They were like friends since since childhood or something.
It's Small world. Well, there you go. So that's a lot of context.
But I just, I thought it was an interesting thing because then you see someone like, he worked over and over again with Blake Edwards, and the cast for something like the Pink Panther, I mean, keep getting bigger and bigger, but it always had the same basic people and, in all of his films pretty much.
Yeah, ends up expanding it to be like enough to fill a baseball team, but it starts off more close knit.
Oh, look, we're gonna make the son of the Pink Panther, and I mean, A Shot in the Dark is probably the best one, and that's the one that doesn't have a Pink Panther in the name of it at all.
Right, yeah.
I love.
All right, everybody. Letterboxd, of course, is a social media platform for film lovers to talk at with and to each other about the films they love, maybe the films that they didn't love, maybe the films that they exclusively want to talk about. Kim Novak's iconic look, which is a good portion of the reviews for this one, as you might imagine. And, of course, is a bottom-up democracy. Everyone gets to have their say, not just Siskel's and Eberts of the world. Everyone gets to chime and opine, which the purposes for this bit is perfect because they are collected weekly by yours truly, where they are put on the screen for Forrest and the rest of the panel to react to, laugh at, and with. And that is what this bit is. These are the Letterboxd one-liners for Bell, Book, and Candle. Let's go. I'd like every outfit Kim Novak wears in this movie immediately. Thank you, please.
Yes.
Except for that yellow dress.
Except for the yellow dress.
That should be asterisks. Right, exactly.
The one thing I thought of,
she still pulls it off. It's just by comparison, like, what are we doing?
Yellow.
This has to be the only time that Jimmy Stewart had to carry around tom-toms, right? Like, I can't imagine there's another movie where it's like he looks real weird carrying them too, because Jack Lemmon hands him his fucking his bongos, and he's carrying he's very awkwardly like carrying them when Jack Lemmon's bringing him to like the the old witch's house.
If we weren't in the middle of it, I might research to see if he ever did a one off on Dobie Gillis, but probably not. Dobie Gillis, everybody, third mention. Just when it seems like this cast, including Novak's actual cat, can't get any better, Ernie Kovacs shows up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's great.
I'm pretty sure he died pretty early, or he would have.
He did, yeah.
Yeah, he died in 62, or I feel like he would have had looking at all the stuff that Jack Lemmon did, like their comedic timing is like impeccable throughout the whole thing. Like they have this weird chemistry that I feel like had to have been honed for like a while, and then I feel like when Jack Lemmon really took off, when he was doing stuff with like Walter Matthau, I could have seen they could have brought Ernie Kovacs in even as like Walter Matthau's brother or something.
Mm-hmm. That's true. It's a shame.
Absolutely. I love how the main power of witches and warlocks in this film is turning light fixtures on and off.
Yeah, I mean, call me a witch, because I'd be turning light fixtures on and off every time I leave the room.
Yeah, or it's either that or I love when they fight to who can unlock the door using witchcraft.
Yeah, he's
also
so great.
It's my turn. No, and like it's their aunt too, which makes it funnier than like
right.
Because it's like their witch, their coven hierarchy or whatever, right? It's like who has the most power, and it's like it's clearly not the aunt, and it's clearly not the brother.
Not the
yeah. She's like, you guys stop it behind me. Like,
oh, boo-hoo. A beautiful woman enchanted you. Cry me a river, pal.
Cry me a river.
I mean, it's really funny, though, that there's this version of it where she, like, literally enchants him. And then Vertigo, like, he's just blown away to the point where he's, like, starts going insane. Yeah. He's like,
down bad.
I think I saw her again. I think I saw her again. Oh, I think that girl looks just like her.
Well, and that's why it's so outrageous that, what's her face? Sydney Sweeney is going to play her. I mean, you have to have something pretty spectacular to pull it off.
I mean, surely there are other women in Hollywood who could do
maybe
this.
The Sydney Sweeney version where he's like, if they like remade the Vertigo part of it, he, like covers up or whatever, and then he's like, I think that's her, but I just can't tell.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Good. Fun to yell the title of this film to the tune of "No Sleep Till Brooklyn." So that would Bell, Book, and Candle. I thought that was good. Respect to this reviewer.
Hit the bell.
Where was the cat's Oscar for this movie?
Especially Houdini, who suffered a lot. Okay, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Where was Oscar?
I always wonder, like, has any cat ever realized, or any dog ever realized that like they're like a movie actor? Like they
that
have
dog from what Anatomy of a Fall? I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's true.
The cat for caught stealing.
Yeah,
amazing.
I was say the cat and caught stealing. The guy said they only used one cat. I mean,
I want to.
The cat's on the press junket. The cat's running around doing press.
My cat McGraw looks just like him, and I want to give him a little biker outfit and everything. I want to go. I want to go all out. You know.
The cat's being asked his top 4 by Letterboxd. He's running around doing the press. You know.
Not cats. And we all know it's not cats.
All right. Well, okay. All right. It's not a cat. The Aristocats maybe is on there.
Yeah. Everybody wants the cat in the hat.
Hold the other because he likes the dog getting shot.
All right. Let's move on. Next.
Oh God.
I asked to be the cat.
Which one?
Just put an ask out there, I guess.
Not the traumatized Houdini.
I mean, it would be pretty good to be Kim Novak's cat.
Yeah.
Yes, that cat. Lucky cat, yeah.
That cat is doing okay.
Oh, this lucky cat.
This movie's got it all: bell, book, and candle.
All right, that's pretty funny.
It's like something weird. It's like ring the bell, quench the book, and
close the book.
Lit the candle.
Quench the candle. Yeah, it's like.
I thought it was FMK. Anyway, moving on.
Bell, book, or candle. Which one do you pick for her?
Absolutely not the point of the movie, but it was so unnerving to see Jimmy Stewart's bare feet, and I hope to never see them again.
Yeah, I feel like subconsciously I felt that way, but like I hadn't put it into words in my head because like looking at her, like I don't know, watching it again, and then their feet are like next to each other. I'm like, I don't want to see. Jimmy Stewart's feet are a little like wacky. I don't know.
He's definitely a guy that should be wearing slippers at all times.
And a guy that would brag about having slippers. Let me put my slippers on.
Oh, he has a full pajama outfit. Of course he does.
He's like, wow, I left the house so fast. I forgot to put on my shoes and I kept my slippers on.
Like he would have Jimmy Stewart in any role, by the way, would also have one of those like little Nemo sleep hats, like the triangular ones. You'd
have the whole like Mickey Mouse nightgown.
Yeah, the whole thing. All right, everybody. 106 minutes of the most bewitching woman in the world pining for a gormless schmuck who looks like a dehydrated thumb.
Yeah, girls, you can do better than that.
Was Clark not worthy? That's for sure.
How?
Did you see that? Did you see them calling me a dehydrated thumb on Letterboxd? I've never been so insulted in my whole life.
I mean, they could have found other actors who were better looking. That's all I'm going to say.
Just asking questions. Those are the Letterboxd one-liners for Bell, Book, and Candle. Please follow the show on the popular Letterboxd format at Movie Night Extra, where we have all the great shows, the great episodes that we cover, the great movies we cover on here, as well as attendant short-form content, longer-form reviews, writing, etc. Good times involved ahead at Movie Night Extra. Magic in Mexico at Always Flaco is your host over there. You can follow him on Letterboxd as well, and he...
It's going on in Mexico, boyo.
He's doing all the stuff for this show as well as so much more. I am Jack Lemmon, Warlock Energy at Conan Neutron. You can find me on Letterboxd doing the highbrow, midbrow, popular sphere.
I can recognize a movie anywhere. You know, if you heard me in front of it, I know it's a movie. I know
that's a movie.
But then there's a movie playing in the background that I don't recognize because I'm drunk. I can recognize a movie anywhere. If someone turns on a movie, I can tell you right away.
They put Avatar in front of you, and you're like, no movie detected. That's a decent bet. It's a decent bet. Yeah. At Conan Neutron, highbrow, lowbrow, popular sphere, et cetera, watching all. Pretty good run lately. Just one battle after another. Quite liked it. I think it is my favorite movie by that director. So,
it's in New Paltz. I'm going to see it this week. It's like right up on the plaza.
It's
the
hype is nuclear, but it's deserved in this case.
I do not like the fact that people are shitting, like the people who like this movie are shitting on Sinners. It's like, oh, white film Twitter doing its thing again.
But that's the thing, right? When one movie really pops off, it's like the other movie that does the best that year gets pitted against it, and it's like we have 2 movies could be good. Like I don't know why.
I don't. And it took a while. And also too, usually it takes like a week or two for film Twitter to turn against a good movie. It took a while for Sinners to happen. But why does it have to happen at the expense of both these movies from great directors who were able to do what they wanted when a studio allows them to do what they want to do?
I would have to literally try to care less about what happens on anything on Twitter, especially film Twitter. But noted. Adam, Kristina, Letterboxd, Kim Novak's plastic surgeon. You can follow her for all. You were doing you were lighting up biopics from like 20 years ago. Like what I was like looking at your Letterboxd feed, Kristina. Like what were you like? What
why?
This?
How do you go? How do you go from Sanina to Why Do Fools Fall in Love about Frankie Lyman's wives wanting his money? Like it was stupid. Focus on him, not on the 3 women. Anyway,
the director of Altered States. I mean, like, why is he?
3 women. What are you doing? I'm trying to see a biopic.
If you can watch it for free on YouTube, watch Why Do Fools Fall in Love, and you'll understand why. Because I'm a huge Frankie Lyman fan. So,
well, I just don't understand why Ken Russell was doing a biopic in the first place. But okay,
the drama behind Valentino is funny as hell because you got that Russian ballet dancer who can't act. You got Michelle Phillips who they hated each other.
So that sounds good to you. Go follow Kristina, Kristina on Letterboxd. Eileen's way too busy for Letterboxd. She doesn't have an account. Let's hit it with the plugs and get this show wrapping up here.
If you're watching us on YouTube, please like and subscribe, and then hit the bell to get notified whenever we're streaming. And we'd humbly request that you watch the video to the end because it helps us with the algorithm and helps more film fans to discover the show. We're also monetized. If you want to get your chat questions definitely read on stream, you can always send us a super chat, which will help us keep the show going. Every cent helps. If you're watching on Twitch, you can gift us a free sub on Amazon Prime with your Prime membership, but getting subs on Twitch is always appreciated, and it helps to follow us on there as well. We also have an audio feed, which is available wherever you download podcasts, if you prefer to listen to podcasts rather than watch the stream. That's updated usually the same day we stream, but watching on YouTube and Twitch is the best way to get the show first, live as it happens. If you want to support us with a monthly donation and get access to all of our after parties forever, which go patron only after we do them, you can become a patron at patreon.com/movie night extra. Link is in the description for that. It really helps us keep the show going since we do have some expenses to make this happen. We also have a Discord community. Link is in the description for that. We sometimes watch movies we cover on there. We get into conversations about everything from film to TV shows to related podcasts. We even have a Discord channel for memes. It's really fun on there. You can find us on all the social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, Twitter, and Threads. You connect with us on all of those. Talk to us. We'd love to hear from you. Lastly, we recently made a TikTok at Movie Night Extra where we're putting up short-form clips from the episodes. Okay, passing this to Conan so he can tell you about his music and this week's Protonic Reversal. Conan, who's on Protonic this week?
Yes. So Steve Chilipana from Season of Risk, also proprietor of Record Bar in Kansas City, is coming on. That's great. Season of Risk has a new record out. Fantastic. They've been around since the 90s. Very good band. Very interesting. So it should be cool. Never had him on. Looking forward to it. The Tim Midyat episode of Silkworm is in the general feed for everybody. Silkworm did a string of reunion shows that were great, very well attended, lots of very enthusiastic reactions to that coming up. So check that out in the main feed, ProtonicReversal.com, for all of those episodes. Always free. No ads, no sponsors, no kidding. But $1 a month, Patreon.com/ProtonicReversal gets those episodes sooner, and it helps support my show and my general endeavors, and that's very much appreciated. Speaking of endeavors, Secret Friends spinning back up. We got some tour dates coming up in October here. We got Chicago, Minneapolis, Lincoln, Denver, Salt Lake City, Boise, Eugene, Portland, and then Seattle for good old Rat City Recon, including Splendid Piss Jeans, God Believes Buildings, Austerity Program, not on this version of the flyer, Cherubs, Helmsley. It's going to be crazy. It's in a roller rink. It's an astoundingly good time. It will have you going awooga, That just happened to be next to the flyer. There's no reason to use that GIF otherwise.
I can't stop hitting myself with a hammer.
I do have November dates are actually mostly announced. I don't have that flyer loaded up, but we're playing Kansas City, we're playing Jackson, we're playing Atlanta, we're playing New Orleans, Austin, Denton, Wichita, Santa Fe, and Phoenix, and then we have a show in Los Angeles for my birthday with Mike Watt, which is going to be amazing. That's great. I'm a huge Minutemen fan, so that's going to be huge. Very stoked on that. NeutronFriends.com, NeutronFriends.bandcamp.com. All the tour dates are all on those places. If you listen to the show, come out to the show, and we can talk about movies or anything else. And it's always nice when that happens.
Just walk up on stage when Conan's playing.
Middle of a song. Yeah, exactly. It's fine. Like, oh, okay. No, this guy wants. This guy wants to talk about Man with the Golden Arm. I'll oblige. Sure. That was a crazy episode. Anything else I have? Oh yeah. There's a video premiere for A Villain of Circumstance that's coming up on the. It's actually going to be the day after our episode coming up. Not next week. It's going to be the 14th. The 14th. This is directed by a friend of the show, Rick Valentin. Of course, last was on talk about The Great After Hours by Scorsese. It's noir themed. It turned out great. I'm very excited for people to see it. Maybe we'll do a premiere for it or something along those lines. But yeah, that's it. That turned out awesome. So that'll be on upcoming. I think Scene Point Blank is going to be premiering that. And that will be release of a lot of the tour dates as well. Turned out awesome, if I do say so myself. I just was the talent, and I got taken to a weird torture room. And you can totally play Spot the Noir as a great game because there's like 5 or 6 homages within them, and some of them are pretty obscure. So there you go.
Tony, what do you think about the scene in this where we didn't bring this up, the thunderstorm scene where they use the sound of the bongos and like the thing around her to like create basically like a thunderstorm.
You know what it reminded me, and it's definitely, it reminded me of in Fitzcarraldo where the native people like come with their flutes and like, you know, kind of get up in their face and like start doing the flute like at them, like and that of course leads to the Q meme of, you know, him with the sombrero and the trumpet, like annoying the hell out of Picard in that same way. I thought that was great, and I thought that was a good usage of those types of things. Like it's heavily implied and then later revealed that they have some sort of rivalry. That what was her name? Merle? Not Merle.
Merle.
Was it, Is it Merle? Okay. I was like, it can't be Merle, right?
I'm marrying Merle Haggard tomorrow.
Then it's like, oh yeah, she was snitching out. She was like behaving, being annoying, and it's like, oh god, that's and
but you can totally imagine with that, like the way that she's played, like, kind of this like prissy, like uptight girl.
Yeah.
Like,
and so then it's like, oh, but then like during
she snitched her out for being barefoot, right? Like that's the whole.
It's like F you, B. Come on. It was like first of all, one of us here is Kim Novak, and the other is you.
Well, and they're also at, they're at Wesleyan, so they're at like one of the premier like girls' schools that's supposed to be like like you think that there'd be some kind of solidarity, just like no. Your enemy will stitch you out for being barefoot on campus.
Well, so it's
now there's probably not even a rule against that.
So there's a good callback to that, and again making good use of the quote unquote beatnik instruments and whatnot to like kind of like shows like, oh, that's cool, and that's a more naturalistic way of showing powers that would be explicitly CGI'd if done today, if that horrible Alicia Keys reboot ever happened.
Which also
that bummed me out. I almost didn't share that with everyone because I was so I was like, that sucks.
But like it's also I don't think they straight up say it, but it's implied that that Jack Lemmon used his because the things he uses his powers for are like stupid, right? Like, and then the whole joke behind the character, and one of the things to become like a really good like bongo drum player. It's like he in a month
picks it up immediately. Yes.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. That and my conceit for that was always for powers would be, time traveler, but using it for like mundane things, like to get to work on time when not using it for these extraordinary, killing Hitler or whatever but just for these incredibly mundane activities where it's like, oh no, I missed the last 2-for-1 ice cream. I better go back in time.
Like it's basically, throughout it, they basically imply. I don't because I like that this doesn't overly hand it to you like this is what witches do, but it's basically implied that especially someone who's like a lower level warlock or whatever, like Jack Lemmon, he can't really his powers are he can turn off lights, he can turn a car alarm off and change the car alarm,
right,
and he could use it for his love life, which is the first moment that Jimmy Stewart turns around and goes, "Hey, that's pretty neat."
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, that's very funny, right? Yeah. Very funny. I laughed at that. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. It was the 50s. Believe it or not, we're on my plug still. Kristina, what do you got going on?
Not a whole lot. Just streaming on the Twitch, doing my show on the Space, still working on the Dark Shadows podcast that I'm working on with Robert. I think what he wants to just get a head start and watch from the very beginning when Victoria came on. Because
how are you gonna handle it? Are you gonna do episode by episode?
I think so.
Wow,
Jesus Christ! It's gonna be the longest podcast in the history of podcasting.
Yeah, or we might break it into episodes. Who knows? Because there's a lot. There's a lot of things to discuss. Gaffes, goofs. Coughing in the background. There's a whole lot of stuff we talk about. Plus, with it being what.
I was just kidding. There's entire episodes of that show. They're like, what are we gonna have them do? I don't know. Just have them. I guess they'll go back in time. It just seems like they don't really have a solid
parallel timeline storyline happening right now. Because
whatever, that's good.
Part of this is stuck in a coffin because again, he's a vampire. Again, every time he goes someplace else, he's a vampire. And right now, it's because Jonathan Frid is filming the Dark Shadows movie that came out in 1970. So they're like this. So we're focused on Angelique and Quentin and all. So it's everyone, but my Twitch community is like, we want Barnabas. I'm like, I know.
Yeah, everyone did, and then but I feel like Soap. Remember that TV show Soap? I feel like that actually really did a pretty good job of lampooning that, and very interesting. Just of the I don't know, let's do this now. Just this the desperate out of ideas writers room.
I know a guy. I think some. Jeff Holiday, he does a Passions every month, every Saturday, goes over an episode of Passions, and I'm like, oh, wow. That's a good supernatural. Well, also too, I keep saying this, but Barnabas Collins gave us the sympathetic vampire. He was the first one to do it. So Edward Cullen, you got nothing on Barnabas Collins. I'm just saying.
It is funny that there's the twin things of daytime TV either being soap operas where eventually all writers' rooms just kind of lose it, right? Because those shows they will just
just run out.
They'll just keep renewing those seasons.
Look at General Hospital.
And so why not just throw in oh, now there's a vampire, now there's this, now there's that, and then there's the real life version of that, which is shows like Jerry Springer and Maury, which the Jerry Springer version of it at least is an actual Nazi fighting a Ku Klux Klan guy and a black guy all fighting on stage together or whatever, and it's that's the shit that they put on during the day because it's well, no one's watching TV during the day except for old people and they put it on the nursing home or something, who's
or these days they rehash the same stories. We're going through another case where another person is trying to take over Sonny Corinthos' territory in General Hospital. It's how many times have we gone through this? He can't quit the mob, whatever. But also too, since it's gonna be October, my birthday's coming up on the 11th. On the 14th, I'm gonna hang out with Lil Nell and watch a Rocky Horror Picture Show screening, do a Q&A with her. It's gonna be so fun.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna start dressing up. I got a Harley Quinn cosplay from the animated show.
So you're gonna go dress as Harley Quinn to?
Not that. I'm just gonna wear my best witchy gothic outfit.
All right, weird. I thought you were saying that. I'm like, those are two different things.
No, I'm gonna wear that tomorrow.
Word. Eileen, what do you have going on?
As usual, writing for Jacobin. I just reviewed one battle after another, like everyone else. I'm saying you need to go see this right away. It's fabulous. I'm considering anyway going back to see it in IMAX, which I didn't see.
It was the VistaVision was pretty rad. I actually went a full city away to go see it in that way, and it was pretty
Wow.
cool. It was worth the gas.
I'm just really curious because the VistaVision isn't what I associate with VistaVision. It's got this kind of raw look, and I just want to know what it looks like huge. So that's really
it worked. I was the same way. I was sort of like, do I need? I can just go. It's like the place is like 5 minutes away. Yeah, you know. But it was worthwhile. I'm glad.
But I definitely want to see it again, regardless. It's you know it's entertaining and so like topical to a painful degree. It's
picture that somebody took. I'm definitely gonna go see it like tomorrow or something. But there's this one picture that somebody took where it's like they're in like the theater and it's like I don't know if it's like VistaVision or if it's like IMAX, but like they're at the theater. They have the giant Leonardo head on screen. So it's like you can see like the version of what they were seeing like on a giant screen versus like the tiny little people in front of them.
Yeah.
So that's what it was like, and there was all the action stuff was astounding.
That's amazing.
And all the, again, no spoilers, but there's some great road cinematography going on near the end of it that was like
it's like a movie that has strangely everything. When it's funny, it's absolutely hilarious. I was shocked. I was just shocked.
Yeah, it works so well.
Leonardo DiCaprio could be that funny. Give him a whiny baby man to play, and he will.
Oh my god! Yeah. Also, too, the fact that little kids come up to him and say, "I watch you, Wolf of Wall Street." I'm like,
why are your parents?
Also, he said the most uncomfortable kiss he did was with that actress who played, the wealthy British aunt. I'm like, I wonder why, because of how old she is.
Oh,
Wolf of Wall Street is like a time that he actually got to like use his comedic chops. I feel like,
that whole scene where he's like all doped up going down the stairs.
No, Eileen's right. It's a killer movie, and it's something where it feels like the zeitgeist is actually getting it right for once, which is astounding.
Oh my god, you just feel like America's finally making the movies it should be making right now. It's really that remarkable. Like,
I mean, I've seen
we jinxed it.
anything with any sort of political insurgency gets mentioned. Battle of Algiers gets mentioned, and in this case, it's actually accurate. And there's a meta-contextual reference where he's like high on the couch watching Battle of Algiers, and I laughed so loud.
Yeah.
And again, people looked at me like I was a psychopath when like there was like legitimately hilarious stuff happening. I was like, "Come on, this is funny. What are we doing here?"
Funny, but come on, you got to admit that's painful because it's really pegging. It's
it's right. It's
with
I love it.
Who can't let this moment of glory, bloody moment of glory go, and I'm one of them. I've seen Battle of Algiers like 9,000 times.
Yeah, but it evokes heat. It evokes the searchers. Like there's all kinds of like it is very unique, and I think it's my favorite Paul Thomas Anderson movie. I'm pretty sure.
I mean, when they pair him with Thomas Pynchon, like as those novels, like at least as the jumping off point, like Inherent Vice. I remember I watched that a couple years ago, like for the first time. I hadn't seen it, and like that movie's crazy. So like
it nails the source material is the nicest thing I'll say about it. Yeah, but which I find deeply inscrutable and.
Yeah,
sort of like
I can't even comment.
Being
able to comment on that.
I feel like an even weirder big.
I've respected it. That one. I've respected that it did the thing it set out to do, and I did not really enjoy watching it.
Yeah,
but.
So anyway, and the only other thing, I just wrote an essay on a kind of obscure Val Lewton movie. If you know Val Lewton movies, you probably know Cat People and I Walk with a Zombie, maybe Leopard Man. But The Seventh Victim, speaking of kind of witch movies, actually is centered, ultimately winds up being centered on a satanic cult and these two young women who are embroiled with this satanic cult. And it's a great little gem of a movie that just isn't super well known. And it's just very strange and compelling and unique, and I highly recommend it. So if you haven't seen Seventh Victim and you even know who Val Lewton is and you want to get into your Halloween viewing, pretty fabulous.
So that's on the Film Suck Patreon, right?
That just went up,
When you did those, you did El Demonio, I think last year you mentioned that in your possession. I forget where you mentioned it, but that was a great find. That was the Demon.
Yeah, there are some little gems. If you could branch, it's hard because we all are watching so many movies all the time. Yeah, and it's kind of haunting to think of how many movies are escaping you if nobody recommends it. No one tips you off. So.
Which the Film Suck Patreon.
There it is. And there's a
still from Seventh Victim of Jean Brooks as the. It's kind of, again, you're in the world of Bohemian. There's a lot of Greenwich Village stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of mid 20th century Bohemian culture, and this is a very disaffected young woman who's it's an absolutely fabulous performance. Who's literally arrived at Satanism because she's tried everything else to get to some point of liberation and autonomy and women's kind of freedom and education.
Hey, I feel it.
It's good. It's really good.
That's
And then your one before that, The Haunting Appeal of Kim Novak.
Yep.
And I liked that you did Me and Mr. Terrific as a
Yes.
By the way, this actress looks exactly like one of my exes. It's uncanny. But,
Oh my God! Really?
yeah.
That is impressive. She rocks the Cleopatra do.
Yeah. I mean,
That's a good look. I love it.
I've lived a lot of life, Eileen.
I believe you.
But I'll have the Patreon in the down in the description for this. I put it in the intro, but Eileen, do you have final thoughts for Bell Book, one singular book?
I'm sure I conveyed in my mania that this is just truly one of my favorite films in the world, and I've seen it a million times, and it's really a fixation on, again, the bohemianism, the Kim Novak's character's whole style, way of life, way of being that is everything I ever wanted to be. So it's a particularly haunting movie for me to watch over and over again. Yeah,
It's like there's just something like interesting about like this time period of and like that doesn't come through in a lot of the movies from this time period, but it's like like you look just 2 years back or something with like Man with the Golden Arm, even it's like black and white, and it's like it feels like it's a whole different world than this version of like a transitory period between the 60s and the 50s, where it's like, I mean, Vertigo has that feeling too, I think, where it's like they're testing the waters because they know that this thing is about to crack. They know the crack's performing, and they're testing the waters the whole time to be like, all right, what can we do? What can we get away with? What can these characters do that they haven't done before? Like, we don't have to actually throw somebody off a building like ISIS if they cheat on their wife or something. Like,
there's a lot of the kind of experimentation and just kind of, you're right, neurotic striving. The late 50s is wonderful for that.
Yeah, and it's like this explosion after like the period of like McCarthyism too, where it's like everybody's just kind of itching to get out of this moment of like complete paranoia and like like fear that any small thing, like the original cancel culture, I guess. But Kristina, let's hear some final thoughts.
So, as a lover of witch films, this is really like in the top 10 for me for like favorite witchy movies of all time. Obviously, Kim Novak gives an amazing performance. Jimmy Stewart does what he has to do.
Jimmy Stewart also appears in this picture. He's fine.
Yeah. It's like, he's fine. I mean, it could have been like a Tyrone Power type of, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
It could have been someone handsome, good looking, someone willing to give up her powers for, like, come on now. But then again, this was the inspiration for Bewitched, and Darren also was very forgettable, so there's that. So
forgettable, they recast him.
Yeah.
I know.
They do manage to like write in the fact in this that like, oh, she's looking for very ordinary. And it's like, who's ordinary?
Well, congratulations, you hit the jackpot.
Exactly.
Drum or whatever. Like,
if you're someone who's like, oh, I want to look, more into like Kim Novak's filmography, this is a good one. This is a really good one.
I mean, you can pair it up with Vertigo.
Like, do a double feature.
Yeah. I mean, Vertigo at one point beat out Citizen Kane as like the greatest film of all time. Which they're really thinking something.
It's kind of like when Thriller and the Eagles' greatest hits always end up being like, what's the best selling album of all time? Those two are always switching. I'm the Eagles' greatest hits, and she's Thriller. Speaking of Halloween.
But Conan,
that was a wild ride, boy. So,
Mr. Smith's wild ride.
Oh yeah, Thriller. Is this the greatest Christmas set supernatural witch-based rom-com? Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. I mean, again, can't overstate how great the production design is, all the locations, the costuming. This is like Breakfast at Tiffany's, both black magic, and I mean that as a compliment. And I think that it's absolutely nuts to think that both of the principals were in Vertigo the same year because it's so different.
Yeah.
But you gotta love Jack Lemmon as a warlock. He's great in this. One of his great supporting roles. I do think that I Married a Witch does a lot of the same things in less runtime, and probably, for my personal taste, is the better movie. But in the pantheon of witch movies, it's pretty undeniable because, again, Bewitched looms so large within these types of pictures and this type of storytelling. And I think it's really good. And I think it's something where it's nice to see a bit of a critical reappraisal of it with more of a modern sensibility. So I think it deserves it. And I think I wish the ending landed a little different, but I think it's a hell of a movie, and it's pretty cool to kick off an entire month. It's pretty crazy, but cool to do an entire month of witch coverage, and it's cool to do it with this one because, again, it's the first one that actually shows from the witches some aspects of it from the witch's perspective, rather than just being like a character that is a plot-based catalyst for something to happen, but they're like lived-in characters that have like a relationship to each other and with each other and opinions and thoughts and so on and so on. I think it rocks, and I think it's definitely. I hope they do like a 4K restoration, whatever they do when they go through and they clean things up, because it's the fact that unless you rent it from the Bezos site, you gotta watch it on Tubi is depressing.
Yeah.
Oh, you gotta watch it on Tubi.
Because that's like the Dollar General of streaming services. Yeah. Peace and love in my heart, and it deserves better than that. I think it's a cool movie. It was cool to talk about.
They're always like, "Do you want to sign up and then be able to pause it?" And it's like, "No, I can just skip." Like,
yeah. Why would I want to pay for that? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't even know if you have to pay for it or you just join. Or you just join. I don't know. But I like. Yeah. You guys would definitely go to the Zodiac Club, right? Like if that, like.
Oh, hell yeah!
A second. Yeah. I wish I was there now.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
I remember. I think it was 2019. It was like around the time that I went to the last Michael Brooks show, like when they did like the live event or whatever. And like before that, it was like around the same time my dad's birthday was. And for my dad's birthday, we went to like a jazz, like one of like the cool jazz clubs in the city. And I feel like that vibe was like. The same as like kind of the same thing when like we've had a couple of drinks and it kind of is like swimming around you almost while you're watching somebody like go ham on the like on like jazz instruments around you, and like it's like you almost get back into that headspace where it's like I feel like this has got to be like a tiny little droplet of like what the actual jazz age was like. And I feel like the Zodiac Club in this like does the same kind of thing when you're watching that whole sequence. You're like, oh man, like
if someone's just going absolute ape shit on a flute, we're like, all right. Sure.
I hate that I had this thought, but it's like because it's like such a funny like little dive bar. I was thinking like you're like if you're the Jack Lemmon character, you're the guy that can always summon the coke dealer.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so if that Alicia Keys remake had happened, that's would have been what the character was doing. All right.
It was like someone's like, "Yo, do you know where to get this?" And you're like, "I got you."
Right, exactly.
The guy appears and he's like, "What this time?" And you're like, "I got a sale for you." That's what Jack Lemmon was doing behind the scenes. But yeah, next week we are doing Hocus Pocus.
Yeah, my focus.
The classic, and I think that one's gonna do numbers because people like that. There was like
They air it every hour of the day on Disney Channel and Freeform, so like we're good. Like
there was a clip of Bette Midler where she was like, I didn't know people like adults watch this.
Hello,
like, cool.
What is really? Does she not know who her fan base is? Like adult gay men. Like, come on now, it's got Bette Midler. You know.
Well, I mean, that's why her and Trump have that beef. You know, like Trump is one of them.
No, true. Yeah. And so the rest of the month we've got the Eggers The Witch, which will also be our 300th episode. So tune in for that as well. Yeah. Special after party for that. And then Kiki's Delivery Service, the Miyazaki movie. I will not be on for that one, but that should be good. And The Love Witch, which I think Josh from Unkind Rewind is coming on for that, maybe. Right?
Yeah, and we have Alex coming on
you
for.
You know what's kind of weird? I actually know Jeffrey, who was in the movie. I wish I could get him on for The Love Witch.
Oh, there you go. Well,
Love Witch, baby.
And then we're closing it off on actual Halloween with The Great Weapons this year.
Fabulous.
Which I guess is a bit of a spoiler to mention that we're doing it during Witch Month, but too bad.
I don't
what's
know.
happening.
Like, I hope it's on streaming by then, or I mean, I hope it's still in theaters by then. Like, either way, like, I mean, it'll be one or the other, but. Yeah.
And the great Renee Bruin come back on for that one. Who, birthday girl yesterday.
Yeah, it's her birthday, right?
Yeah. Libras rule.
So there you go. Thanks, Eileen. So great to have you on. Thanks for we always love having you.
Thanks so much.
We gotta do it again soon. I think we are right, for Noir Month or when we do that.
Oh, I know. That's right. I forgot I was gonna make a pick and I still haven't. Yeah, I'll get back to you. Yeah.
All right. Well, you've seen behind the scenes stuff here because we're discussing the shows.
Just wander into production meetings on air. It's
whatever. Like that.
But
no after party this week, right? So sorry.
I'm
Peace
shot.
and love.
I woke up at 3 a.m. somehow and couldn't get back to sleep.
Yeah.
I got my COVID vaccination and my flu vaccination, so you're lucky I'm here.
Man. I didn't even know they still did those. No?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they still do. I'd rather have it happen now than on tour. I'll tell you that much.
You had to summon it. They were like,
yeah, don't tell RFK Jr.
All right, well, that is it. Movie night extravaganza. Join us next week on Tuesday. I think it's October 7th. The only thing that ever happened on October 7th is our
nothing major happened.
So join us for that.
We will do our October 7th spectacular.
All right. No, we're not.